What's up YouTube? It's Nick again at Things Money. Have you wondered, if I receive a loan for EIDL that's over $25,000, what does that mean as far as pledging collateral? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that means. So when you get your documents for your EIDL loan, there's going to be a security agreement in it. And on that document, it's going to state exactly what you're going to be pledging for your business. I have the Sba Security Agreement right here. It's a blank one. Because my loan was under $25,000, I didn't have to pledge any collateral, so I didn't sign one of these. So it lists your SBA loan number, your name, the debtor, which is you or your business, the borrower, the secured party, the date, and the note amount. A secured party in this case is going to be the SBA. Typically, when these are filed through a bank, the bank's name is listed on there as secured party. Because the bank processes the loan, they're the ones that filed the security agreement, or the Ucc, Uniform Commercial Code filing. Definitions, it describes exactly what the Ucc is, the Uniform Commercial Code, what SBA means as far as Small Business Administration, and agency of the U.S. government. Number 2, grant of security interest. For value received, SBA loan amount, proceeds, the debtor grants to the secured party a security interest in the property described below in paragraph 4, the collateral. The agreement secures the payment and performance of all obligations under the note dated whenever your note is dated with all the documents. The note is the promise to pay the debt, and the security agreement is the collateral if you don't pay it. On page number 2, they're going to have the organization listed, and they're going to have your name and the amount. And then under that's the collateral description. So in this section, it lists several check boxes that say specific things that they're going to take. Typically, they're going to check all of this. So I have another security agreement that I'm going to show now. This was for a previous SBA loan that I did that actually took collateral. So you can see that it blanket statements everything for the business. Under that's a checkbook for titled motor vehicles. In this case, more than likely they're not going to take the titles to vehicles because either 1, you already have a loan on them, or 2, it would be far too time consuming to get a list of equipment and those VIN numbers and equipment numbers and names to list. So they're just going to take a blanket all business assets, and then other they can choose other things that they may need. In the case of doing a farm loan one time, they took livestock, both born and unborn, because they wanted to make sure that if the loan defaulted, they could take the cows as well as the calves that were going to be born that spring as collateral. Number 5 is the big one. So this one's restrictions on collateral transfer. This is the one where I said in a previous video on the security agreement that if you want to transfer assets, so let's say you have a large piece of equipment and you want to sell it to get another piece of equipment, this is where you should, and I put that in air quotes, contact the SBA to get their permission to do that. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't businesses out there that do it on their own and don't contact the SBA. If it's a substantial piece of equipment or a substantial asset in your business, I would highly recommend that you let the SBA know you're doing that in case you would get audited and they'd wonder what happened to your equipment. So number 6, maintenance and location of collateral, inspection, insurance. They're just saying you have to maintain insurance. If they do a collateral on this, if they file a UCC and they require insurance, most banks that do them will require the insurance. You're going to have to get business asset insurance. That applies more when you have a physical location where your assets are housed. Again, the example is in most of the small businesses, if you're a photographer that runs out of your house, more than likely you don't have business insurance because everything is covered under your homeowner's policy or renter's policy. But in this case, they could require that. And it says in here that may require including lender's loss payee clause, which means that on your insurance, if you have a fire, the insurance company will send the check directly to the bank and they will name the bank and you as insured, which means that you both have to sign the check in order to get the money. And that the reason is that in case you those assets are gone forever, they don't want you taking the money and running because the bank has no collateral anymore. And in this case, it would be the SBA. So if you had a fire, lost everything in your business, the SBA wants to recoup whatever money they can get out of this loan. And then it talks about the perfection of security interest, that's what the Ucc filing is, which I'll go over in a minute, and then all of the ways that you can default on the loan. It gives you federal rights, governing law, secured party rights, severability, debtor certifications, that basically you're certifying that everything you own is yours. You didn't misstate and park 2 semi trucks on your property that were your buddies and say, oh yeah, those are mine, so that gives my business more value, and then they disappeared. And then you're signing and attesting it. So that's a security agreement. Now I'm going to go over the Ucc Financing Statement. So this is the document that is actually sent to the state that lists exactly what the collateral is. This is where that paragraph, that's all of those terms that are in that checkbox will be listed in this paragraph here. It has your debtor's name, whether it's personal or business, and secured party's name. That's going to be the SBA or the bank or whoever is filing this certificate. Once they file this with the state, if you had a, let's say the business outside of the EIDL loan and there was a piece of equipment that had a VIN number or had a serial number, let's say a Bobcat, for instance. You sell that Bobcat, or let's say that Bobcat's stolen, and somebody tries to sell that at a pawn shop somewhere else in another state. That pawn shop has to search that serial number, and it'll show who has a security interest in that piece of equipment. These are very important to make sure that if you pay off a loan, that they satisfy these, because if not, it's going to be a pain if you go and sell a piece of equipment, especially with a title. You can get the title back from the state, but if a UCC is filed and that title, that piece of equipment, the VIN number is listed, if anyone runs that serial number or VIN number, you get pulled over by the police and somebody else pulls it and you're not the owner of the equipment, they could confiscate that piece of equipment and return it back to the bank or secured party. So always make sure that when your loans are paid off, you have the bank satisfy this UCC. I've seen multiple times where they didn't and honestly, the UCCs expire after 7 years. If they don't choose to renew them, they'll go away after 7 years. So if you've owned the equipment longer than that. Now, that being said, the bank or whoever can renew the UCCs if they want. So just something to side note to check on that. Those are the two ways that they get the collateral and how they secure the collateral. There's been a lot of talk on the, again, of getting the rights of having the SBA tell you how to run your business. That's come up on several videos and I see that. And I've said in other videos that it's not that they want to interfere with your business, they just want to make sure that they are protected should you go bankrupt, default, whatever, that they have some semblance of collateral that they can come get. And the important piece of this is in any collection or any debt recovery, there's a pecking order, if you will, of who can get your debt. One is going to be secured creditors, and the bottom rung is going to be unsecured creditors, which are usually credit cards, things like that. You personally guarantee them, but there's no security interest against your business. So that's why if a bank is lending a substantial amount of money to the business or you, they're going to file this because they want to make sure that they're first in line when you default, that they want to get those assets to recover their loans back. So I hope this was informative. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you'd like to see more about UCCs or security agreements, notes, anything like that outside of it, what is your experience? Did you get your documents? Did you read through them to see what you're signing away? I'd be interested to see if someone would post their actual security agreement that lists what collateral that they took, and even if they got a copy of the UCC. If you got value out of the video, I'd appreciate a like. If you want to continue on this journey of finance, hit subscribe, and I'm going to have new videos post every Wednesday, so look forward to them. You can hit the bell to get notified when I post. Thank you and have a great day.